Hello, writers. Here's our week 2 rich words to learn today. Our example story. I made a pact with a wizard. I would plow his farm and he would enchant my cloak with the power of invisibility. I dutifully hitched my ox to the plow and began to work. Not long into the day, I saw a sinister trail of smoke rising from the wizard's house. The hairs on the back of my neck began to bristle. Had something gone wrong? I left the plow and hurried over to the wizard's door. I was raising my fist to knock when, boom! The next thing I knew, I was lying on a broad, flat field, nothing in sight except a few clouds casting dappled shadows on the ground. Pact is a noun, a formal agreement that shouldn't be broken. You can see these people making pinky swear here, where you pinky swear to make a promise. I cross my heart, hope to die, I will never break the promise. Um, so two people can make a pact where they make an agreement that they'll never break it, or even two companies can make a pact, two countries can make a pact with each other. So this can happen on a lot of different levels. Have you ever made a pact with someone? Maybe you and your mom said, okay, if you clean your room, then you'll be able to go to your friend's house. And so those are kinds of pacts that people can make. Second word, enchant, to cast a spell on or to delight. You can see this fairy that's using the magic wand to enchant the ocean to possibly make that ship to sink in the distance. What are some things in stories that are often enchanted? Like our example story, you see cloaks that are enchanted all the time to become invisible. You hear enchanted swords, enchanted rings, even enchanted rocks that will do something strange if you step on them by accident. A cloak, a loose outer garment like a cape. You can see the hobbits here who are all wearing cloaks so that they can keep warm. Yeah, what is the difference? Cape versus cloak. I looked it up, and cape is actually somewhat shorter. A cloak is something that's going to reach down past your knees and probably is going to go all the way to your ankles and to the ground. But a cape is something that's usually not quite long, maybe above your knees or even higher. And so cloaks are these long, warm garments. They often have hoods so you can keep the rain off, and that's your cloak. Dappled is an adjective. It means spotted, and it's usually talking about animals or shadows. In this house here, you can see the dappled light and the dappled shadow on the wall of the house, where that tree is casting um, that very colorful, not colorful, but spotty, intricate shape. What kinds of animals have dappled skin or fur? You see this a lot in horses, where a horse will have these really pretty kind of spots on their back in a kind of scattered pattern. You wouldn't call a cow's spots dappled because a cow's spots are too big. So you need it to have that small, kind of scattered effect like the shadows here. Broad, wide open, having lots of space. This is a broad field under a broad sky here where there's nothing in sight. You can see for as far as the eye can look. What are some broad spaces that you know of? Maybe you've heard of a broad street where there are maybe 4 or 5 lanes all next to each other on the street. Maybe you've heard of a broad table that spans from one side of the room all the way to the other. Whatever the thing is that's broad, it's going to have a lot of space, and so it can have lots of things filling it. And so let's end with our example story again. I made a pact with a wizard. I would plow his farm and he would enchant my cloak with the power of invisibility. I dutifully hitched my ox to the plow and began to work. Not long into the day, I saw a sinister trail of smoke rising from the wizard's house. The hairs on the back of my neck began to bristle. Had something gone wrong? I left the plow and hurried over to the wizard's door. I was raising my fist to knock when, boom! The next thing I knew, I was lying on a broad, flat field, nothing in sight except a few clouds casting dappled shadows on the ground.